And welcome to another edition of Warrior Weekly. Joining me, as always, Travis Whipple, the Assistant Athletic Director here at Winona State University. And Travis, a great first weekend for men's and women's basketball. First starting with women's, as they had a commanding victory over the Upper Iowa Peacocks.
Glad to be here, and you're absolutely right. Great start to the conference season, and you always want to really take care of business at home, especially in the difficult NSIC. But exactly right, a good win against Upper Iowa, a team that's very much so improved, have a new head coach who really has a good record in Division II and has done a nice job around the country. So a great win, 89-58. I think, again, you see that balance and that depth, a lot of different student athletes getting to the scoring column, and Michelle McDonald led the way with 22 points, did an excellent job inside. Really didn't have a matchup for her. Upper Iowa didn't, and Winona State took advantage of that.
Yeah, Natalie Giegler also, continued her consistent play. She chipped in 12 points, and you can't say enough about Katie Wolf, who just had an excellent evening as well, as she totaled 11 points. Didn't have only had one shot in the first half. All 11 of those points came in the second half, so her hot shooting really has helped this squad. They, of course, won by a score of 89-58, and now they're tied for their best start in school history at 5-0 this weekend as they head up to Bemidji State and UMD. Bemidji State, a team that beat them at home last season, and then UMD, the team that ended their season last year.
A couple of really important games, in my opinion, and a chance for Winona State to get on track against a couple teams, as you mentioned, they might have struggled with in the past. But you really got to like the play of Katie Wolf. You brought her up earlier. I think she really worked hard over the summer on her individual game, and kind of in a situation now where she can create for others, create for herself, and then, of course, obviously a good shooter. But a great road trip. I think any student athlete really enjoys that, and finals are finishing up, so really just a time to focus on basketball.
Yeah, men's basketball also played host to Upper Iowa here at McCowan Gymnasium, and despite the final score of 78-61, this was a very competitive game. A lot of fouls called, a lot of heat out there on the court, and Winona State eventually came out with the victory thanks to John Wahlberg's 9 points in the second half. And you can't say enough about Clayton Vetty, who had 21 points, really just a dominant force down low. Yeah,
he's playing well, playing at a high level, and I think finally kind of gotten his legs back under him, so to speak. He had that injury last year and sat out almost a year of basketball too. I think people forget about that, and it's a tough adjustment. But Clayton Vetty, 21 points. Anthony Tucker, 18 points. Nice inside-outside combo, and you mentioned John Wahlberg with 9.6 rebounds. But it was a very competitive game. I mean, Upper Iowa's a good team. Kind of have a senior class that's been around, so they've been through the NSIC schedule, and they're a talented team, that's for sure, and really took us to the limit. But I think what's really interesting to see is what the atmosphere is already like early on this season. It almost felt like a tournament-style game with the heat that you mentioned, and the refs might have lost a little bit of control during that game, and it's just interesting to see that early on in the season. I think it's going to be a great finish to the NSIC conference schedule.
Hopefully they can recapture that McCowan magic and get those McCowan maniacs down here courtside and pack the gym as they always had, back in, well, I don't want to say back in your day, but just a few years ago. So a very good turnout for that first NSIC game, and they are now ranked 3rd in the nation. They take to the road as well, playing Bemidji State and UMD. And interesting noted, they dominated UMD last season, but that Bemidji State squad beat us twice, and once at home here on a last-second shot.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely something that sticks in the back of your mind if you're a player right now. Is this is a team that came into our house and won last year on a last-second shot, and it should have been a game in which they took care of business and got it done. But some improved teams, again, the NSIC across the board is difficult, in both the women's and men's team will have to play at a high level to come away with 2 more victories.
Women's track and field also got underway this past weekend as they traveled to Mankato for the MSU preseason open. 15 top 5 finishes and 4 athletes claimed first place in their selected event. So a good start for the track and field team that really is unknown here at Winona State, but is well known around the nation.
they've had a very successful run here the last couple of years, and they continue to build upon their runners and their sprinters because the field athletes have been exceptional, led by Rebecca Steer and Mary Tyson, who've done a great job. Mary won her event, the weight throw. But continue and Abby Albers as well, long jump. So, I mean, it's just kind of a domino effect that's taken on from the throwers to the runners, a complete team, and it's exciting. Minnesota State, University of Mankato always puts on a good meet early on in the season, and I think a good indication of where this team will be this year.
Another athlete to maybe look out for is Kate Dine, one of the quick sprinters there on the team that has qualified numerous times in the outdoor season, looking for her first national qualifying run for the indoor season. So good luck to track and field as they head up to the Minnesota Open, but that's not until January 15th, so they have a little time off to maybe get ready for that. And now wrapping up Warrior Weekly, Annabelle Pedio. You had to have known this was coming. She was selected as the NSCAA Division II All-American First Team, a very well-deserved honor.
Absolutely, and to me that's the most important one that comes from the coaches, and that really means something. So a great honor for her. She's done an exceptional job. We've talked about her on this show quite a bit, but anchored that defense for the soccer team that went to the Sweet 16 of the NCAA tournament, won the conference regular season and NSIC conference tournament. So very well deserved, but she does so much off the field as well, and is involved in our student athlete advisory committee, and you love to see people like that, great people that excel and get awarded for it. But I think she'd be the first to say this is a team award. They've got a good defense, and that really helps.
Well, that'll do it for this week's edition of Warrior Weekly. Don't forget, this weekend, Bemidji State and UMD, women's and men's basketball, travel up north.